Ever since the beginning of last year, with the introduction of Iconic Weapon 2, the meta has changed quite a bit. And for many of you older Mythic Heroes players, you all probably remember the days of Marduk, who hasn't been in the meta for a while, Lucifer and Loki dominating the PvP scene. So in this video, I'll go over the 3 most popular PvP teams within the Champions Arena, and then I'll also go over some SSR only formations for the free-to-play players who want some teams that they can take some ideas from for the Gladiator and Mastermind arena. So let's get into it with number 1. And here's the formation that started it all, the old reliable Amaterasu Morrigan team. Consists of Isun Shin, Tangun on the front line, and Western Queen, Morrigan, and Amaterasu in the back line. So there are variations of this team that people use in Champions Arena. Sometimes people will replace Isun Shin with any of his fellow Guardian tanks, such as Leonidas or Hercules. And believe it or not, Hercules, with his iconic weapon 600, is a good part of the meta now, whereas he used to be made fun of alongside Thor for being a useless hero. Those days are over. So you'll see this formation commonly in Champions Arena. As I said, with a little bit of variations in the Guardian tanks. Now there is another variation of this that sometimes people will use, where Western Queen and Amaterasu are the only ones in the back line, and in the front line the Guardian tank and Dangrun have been replaced with Faust and Susanoo. This is a more extreme version that is meant to be a lot more offensive, but it's a high risk, high reward type of play. So the idea being that Faust will swap with whoever, and Amaterasu will attack the swapped enemy hero, and Susanoo provides distraction on the opposite end. So that's the very first team. Let's move on to number 2. Here we have a more defensive Guardian Verdian team. It consists of Ymir and Chiron in the front line, and in the back line, Nuwa, Prometheus, and Nagakanya. So with this team, it relies on a more delayed battle where Nuwa and Nagakanya and any other heroes that might be substituted in will provide a lot of crowd control, while you have the DPS Chiron with the sub DPS Prometheus, and of course you have a tank that can help provide the front line with a little bit of stability. Now in some cases you might have not Ymir there. I use Ymir because this team would capture on great faction bonus of 3 Guardians and 5 Verdians. So not always is the case where Ymir is there. Sometimes you can have Leonidas or Isun Shin, the other Guardian tanks, with the exception of Hercules, because I don't see Hercules used as much as a top frontline tank replacement. And you can also swap out Nagakanya if you wanted to for Cassandra. And with the front line, Chiron can also be substituted out for, well, I know I advised against it, but you can put Hanzo there. There are other cases where people will put Oda Nobunaga there because this team would support Oda Nobunaga very well. Nagakanya would keep him alive, and Nuwa can possibly use Sky Pillar to take away any heroes that might impede his route to Demon Lord ultimate status. So overall, it's a great formation, and it capitalizes on faction bonuses as well. Let's move on to number 3. And here we have the newest meta team, which consists of Ninhursag and Poseidon in the front line, and Oberon, Idun, and Artemis in the back line. So with this team, it's meant to be a very high DPS burst team, and normally burst heroes like Oberon and Artemis are glass cannon like and can be taken down easily if you were to snipe them. However, with Ninhursag and Poseidon providing distraction and interference, as well as protection from Ninhursag's Alpine Shelter, which may or may not be bugged in PvP, which is why this formation might be doing so well, for those of you who know, and Idun to provide emergency protection, and once she gets going, they just keep repeating their ultimates. This formation is a very solid one. I would say even rivals or goes above the Amaterasu Morrigan team. This is a very deadly formation to watch out for. Now, there are some substitutions you can do for this team as far as DPS heroes, but generally the key is to have Ninhursag and Poseidon up front with Idun. Ideally, everybody is at Iconic Weapon 600, and if you don't deviate from this should be a very good team for you in the Champions Arena. Now, aside from these 3 top teams, let's go on to the SSR teams that I had promised. These are just some teams that I drummed up. For those of you who might not have every UR hero and don't have the best of your situation, you can try to use these teams, get a little bit of ideas from it, cherry pick and choose what you want and make the best of what you got. So let's go on to those. So here we have an old but still the most popular before Amaterasu and Morrigan came about, which was the Archimedes Odin team. So it consisted of Odin and Archimedes in the front line, with Western Queen, Hela, and Freyja in the back line. The way this team worked was Odin's Raven Guardians would give Archimedes more energy and protection so that he would repeatedly use his ultimate so that he gets the 10 seconds of fast DPS without the 5 seconds of repair that comes with it. Because he would be repeating the ultimate over and over, there would be no repair downtime. Now in the back line, this is generally what you would have. Hela is there to help Archimedes not just heal him but also give him lifesteal, which is inherent with her passive skill, so that he stays alive longer. And Freyja is there to give that initial beginning of battle attack speed boost so that Archimedes can get up and running as fast as possible. Now there are variations of this, but importantly you want Western Queen to be there to power up Archimedes the entire time. The variations though, you could swap out the main healer Hela for another healer such as Cassandra, Nagakanya, or Idun. And then with Freyja, you could replace her with someone who can run interference to help Archimedes and have his damage taken reduced, such as Susanoo. So very good team, and many people were using it before the beginning of last year. So let's move on to the second team. Here is a team that I came up with. It has Leonidas and Chiron in the front line, Nagakanya and Cassandra and Hanzo in the back line. This takes advantage of the fact that Hanzo and Chiron both dish out big damage even if their attack speed is slower, and it provides really good support through Nagakanya and Cassandra, and maybe also Leonidas if you have him up to Iconic Weapon 600 for them to keep on dishing out damage. And with this case, with PvE, you can always substitute in Morrigan to help keep Hanzo alive longer. You just have to replace either of the two dedicated healers. And Morrigan doesn't have to be the only replacement. You could put, say, Freyja in place of Nagakanya to speed up their attack so they can do better as far as DPS. So let's look at now the third team. This is a high risk, high reward team. It consists of Poseidon and Oberon in the front line, Artemis, Idun, and Susnu in the back line. The purpose of this team is to maintain very high DPS through burst damage from the 3 glass cannons and finish the fight as quickly as possible. Minimal support through Poseidon running tank and Idun running emergency support. Now if you want to get even crazier, you can replace Idun with Freyja to speed up all of their attack speed, since with Freyja in, it would be 1 tank and 4 fighters, all of which would be attack speed boosted by Freyja. But if you feel uncomfortable with that, you can always take measures to replace one of the glass cannons with more support, like if you wanted Morrigan or if you wanted Nagakanya. And as far as Poseidon goes, I just put him there because he fits along with the faction, the Verdian faction. You also have the Luminarch faction going on here. And I didn't put Odin because Odin was already used for the Archimedes Odin team. So if you want to, you can put whoever you want in Poseidon's place. I just put him there just to keep the faction bonuses as much as possible. And that's it for the third team. So this whole video has been a highly edited, one of my best production videos, I would say. And it's probably going to be the last one in a while, since I've covered my tier list and this being my meta team video. Until IGG does something brand new, I probably won't have another big video like this in a while. But you can always help by liking my videos. I don't really care if you subscribe, because I know a lot of you probably don't, which is fine by me. This is just a hobby for me. I'm not doing this for YouTube partnership or any paid YouTube channel type of deal. But yeah, whatever helps. So I'll see you until next time.